Hey guys, Kristy Rice here. I'm the author and artist of the new series called Painterly Days. It's the world's first coloring book for watercolor, and today I have a little demo for you using the Painterly Days watercolor set here. And I'm also using a speedball watercolor brush. It's the kind of brush that has the water right in it. Probably didn't even call it the right thing. But I'm starting here actually in the woodland book, and I'm tracing a shape onto the page. It's a page just full of beautiful leaves, and this idea just came to me. It's just a fun way to fill the page. It's kind of a big page, so people have been asking, how do I fill these pages creatively? Do you have any ideas? So you could choose any shape, literally a circle, an oval, anything at all that you might want. Trace it out in the middle of the page, and now I'm just adding a wash into the shape. I started with just clean water, a little bit of green, just rounding out the shape there with my brush, a little bit of this beautiful fluorescent yellow that I love so much from the Painterly Days set. And this paper, guys, from Painterly Days, it stays wet for a good long time. So much so that I'm gonna have to stop this video and blow dry so I can keep going. So it'll stay wet. I've used a lot of water here. It'll stay wet for a good, oh gosh, probably 7 to 8 minutes, which is really cool. I'm adding in a really dark blue here from the color palette just to accentuate the edges. Guys, I'm using the Royal and Langnickel 1/4 inch, excuse me, I think it's actually 1/8 inch dagger on the edges here. So I've put down the Speedball water brush, and I'm now using the Royal Langnickel 1/8 inch dagger brush. I'll put the resources in the description here. Just going around the edge with that darker blue from the Painterly Days palette. The rest of the wash within the shape that I created is still wet, so it's bleeding in nicely. I don't even have to do anything beyond just laying down that line of color and letting it do its work. Look, no bleed through. There is a little bit of rippling while it's wet. Once it's dry, it'll dry flat. So I'm going to get into here painting around this shape. The Painterly Days set is a great set for just starting out. I love it because it's super stylized. The colors are already coordinated, and they're going to give you a really kind of stylized, coordinated look on your pages. It's a great set if you want to actually buy a gift for someone that has never watercolored before and doesn't have any types of watercolors available. There are two colors in particular. I'm going to use a lot of them here. This is the fluorescent yellow, and there is a fluorescent peach that I am dying over. Just love them. So I'm just going along here, guys, really simply with my water brush. I'm adding color. I'm not doing a lot of flooding in different colors into another. I'm just having fun with the simple act of adding color into the shapes on the page. You can see a little view there. And I'm just going to continue that literally all around this edge. I'm keeping the color palette very simple. I'm using a green, just a really nice celery green here at the bottom of the palette. I'm using the fluorescent yellow, and I'm using touches of that fluorescent peach at the top of the palette. Again, very simply laying down color. Guys, I want you to enjoy this experience. I've said it before. I think I've said it in all of my Painterly Days demo videos. I don't want you to worry about mixing colors until you're ready. I don't want you to worry about the perfect brush to use until you're curious about exploring more on brushes. I just want you to take color from the palette with one nice brush that you're comfortable with and lay down some beautiful wet color. And then if you want to, float in another color on top of it and watch the explosions happen. Watercolor does not have to be complicated. And in these books, in Painterly Days, they're supposed to be fun and relaxing and stress-free. You're not supposed to stress out about the rules with Painterly Days. You're just supposed to give it a try and paint. And that's what this is all about. This particular page is all about that. No rules, just laying down some color that you love, color that makes you smile, color that when you pull back and look at what you're working on, you just can't help but be proud of yourself, and it's okay to be proud of yourself. That's what I want for you here. So I'm just moving on. If you guys don't know what a water brush is, I'm sure you do though, because you guys are YouTube savvy. I am not the only YouTuber you're watching. It is a sweet little brush. It comes to a nice point, especially the Speedball. brand. I would say it's equivalent to about a number 3 or 4 brush, but it's got a superior point and it has water in the barrel. So here, guys, I have moved along significantly with the lovely technology of time lapse, and I'm continuing on with my water brush. There's water right in the barrel that continuously dispenses. I do still dip my water brush in water if I want to clean the brush out more thoroughly. So you can certainly do that. I'm adding a little bit of that fluorescent peach, guys. I'm in love with it. I love it so much. And I'm just continuing to go around the edge, making sure that I don't paint into my center area that I created that shape within, because I'm going to leave that for something a little special later on in the demo. So really what I'm doing here, and again, this is the Woodland Painterly Days book. I'm going to zoom in here so you can really see what I'm working on. I also want you to notice that there is no pilling going on. Now I'm starting to add some serious detail into one section here. This painting style, guys, is a little more decorative. It's really just about creating something beautiful that you might want to hang on your wall. So I am taking part of the pattern. This is just a leaf and pod pattern, very kind of simple but beautiful pattern made of leaves and pods and little tiny little leafy greenery elements. I am highlighting an area of that within this shape. I am using a blue, a green, and a red. Literally, that's all I'm using, and a little bit of that fluorescent peach. And I'm just going over and over, adding more pigment, making areas darker. All of these areas are wet, so I'm able to drop more color back into them as I'm working to add shading. This water brush has a great point, like I mentioned before, so you can do beautiful detail lines. Just make sure your page is a little bit dry before you go in and add any details into the leaves, or else they may bleed a little bit more than you were hoping. So just going to continue on here, and just notice I'm creating a little vignette almost within this shape. I don't want to paint the entire thing at this point. I just want a little bud, a little sprig of leaves, a little pod, or a bloom, whatever you want to call it, that's just starting to bud. I just want to call out one little area. Love this style so much. And wait till you see what I'm going to do. I think you're going to enjoy it. Again, these pages are big, guys, in Painterly Days. They are 9 by 12. So you have to get creative in how you want to fill your pages so you don't get bored. And guys, I am not a hand letterer, but there you have it. I just did it. Joy. I'm all about the joy. So I figured I'd give it a try with the water brush, a little bit of hand lettering, totally inspired by Amy Tangerine. Guys, check her out on YouTube. I did a little practice in the bottom right-hand corner of my page there. I'm not too hating this. I'm really not. Does that even make sense? I actually really like what I just did here. Anyway, so I'm moving on now to fill in the rest of that shape that I originally put down with that fluorescent yellow that I'm obsessed with. So this is just pure fluorescent yellow from the Painterly Days palette that I'm filling in the tiny little greenery areas of this pattern from the Painterly Days Woodland book. And I'm just going to fill in and fill in. As some of the areas dry, I'm going back in with more of that yellow. And what that is giving me is a more intense fluorescent yellow. So you can layer in color in between, in between letting areas dry. So paint, dry, paint again, and you're going to get a stronger color presence. And guys, just so you know, this particular pattern from Painterly Days, I'm getting you the name of it specifically. It is the Greens pattern, literally just called Greens, from Painterly Days Woodland. Filling in a little bit more on the joy there, just a little bit of accent to make it pop. And I just recommend, if you want to add a little bit of hand lettering to your page, just practice a little bit on another sheet before you go into your page so you feel confident. Going back in with a little bit more of the fluorescent yellow. And my goal here is to create something that I'd want to frame. It's got enough interest, enough going on, and I'm so excited about the colors that I would actually put this on my wall. And I'm going to include a link in the description of this video, guys. Amazon sells a great frame and mat combo for this exact size page. So I'm going to link to that so you have it in case you want to frame anything, give them as gifts. But there you have it, guys, my little decorative joy demo in the Painterly Days Woodland book. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.